Not every one that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. That man condemns himself, who calls God his Lord, and yet testifies by his works that he does not fear him. God considers actions, and not words, fruit, and not leaves. The false and deceitful devotion which consists only in words is rejected by Jesus Christ. That alone which is true, substantial, and necessary consists in studying and doing what God requires of us. How can the world be saved? The world, which is intent on nothing but doing either its own will, to please itself, or that of others, out of interest. The will of God, which alone can sanctify and save, is regarded by it as nothing. Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name, and in thy name have cast out devils, and in thy name done many wonderful works? The most shining actions of the reprobate are often such as are rejected by God with the greater indignation, because the principle of them is more corrupt, and the end more criminal. How many preachers are there who appear prophets in the pulpit? How many spiritual guides? How many writers and other evangelical workmen, whose conduct, doctrine, and labor we admire, who yet are really nothing, and even less than nothing before God, because they do not perform His will. It is better to be and to do nothing, than to be or do what God would not have us. And then will I profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity. Dreadful separation indeed, which we do not enough consider. How dear will the vain pleasure of sin and worldly splendor, of a transient reputation, cost those who forget God! Grant, O Lord, that I may discover and avoid all those snares which are laid for us by the devil, the world, and our own self-love, that so thou mayest know and accept me in that great day. Terrible alteration for those among the clergy who are so eager to be known in the world and to make their fortune in it by the functions of the sacred ministry. Christ knows them not, whereby is meant that he regards and treats them as he does the world, to which they have given themselves up, and for which he has not vouchsafed to pray, and that he strikes them, as well as the world, with this eternal anathema, Depart from me. Therefore, whosoever heareth these sayings of mine, and doeth them, I will liken him unto a wise man, which built his house upon a rock. We must build upon the rock, which is Jesus Christ, doing that good by charity which we know by faith. True wisdom consists in working on the building of our salvation, in making it firm by keeping close to the word and the maxims of the gospel, and in conforming our lives thereto. And when, in order to this, we lean upon nothing but the grace of Christ, we then build upon a solid rock. And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew, and beat upon that house, and it fell not, for it was founded upon a rock. It is the practice of God's commandments which renders our calling and election sure, and which secures our salvation against the divine wrath and the last judgment. There are three kinds of trials and temptations. First, those of temporal afflictions which come from above, like the rain. 2. Those which proceed from the lusts and passions of men, which are like floods. 3. Those which, like impetuous winds, arise from the devil. It is charity, and not the light of faith alone, which can enable us to stand our ground against so many temptations and trials. And every one that heareth these sayings of mine, and doeth them not, shall be likened unto a foolish man, which built his house upon the sand. He who knows and does not, builds upon the sand, and is a fool. How many fools on earth pass for the men of true wisdom? And very often he who pities them is himself of the number. It is a great misfortune not to know the gospel, but it is a real folly to be filled with the knowledge of its truths and to make no use of all in them. Render us faithful in this matter, O eternal wisdom, and give us that wisdom which consists in knowing how to be saved. And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew, and beat upon that house, and it fell, and great was the fall of it. This is a lively representation of the case of the soul which, at the hour of death, has nothing to rest upon. The knowledge of the law alone cannot support a soul against temptations, nor against the judgment of God. It will serve only to overwhelm it the more. The fall of the soul is irreparable and without remedy after this life, because the spring of charity will be then dried up, which alone can shelter the soul from the rain of God's justice, stop the floods of his anger, and withstand the wind of his judgment, which will carry away the straw and the sand. Let us strengthen and secure our building while we have time to do it. And it came to pass, when Jesus had ended these sayings, the people were astonished at his doctrine. These people will condemn the insensibility of our hearts at the word of Christ. They perhaps heard it but once, and we heard or read it every day. It is something to admire the beauty and holiness of the Christian morality, but to make us love and embrace it is the work of him alone who can change the heart. For he taught them as one having authority, and not as the scribes. Observe here the difference of Christ and those who preach by his Spirit from those who do it out of vanity and by the spirit of the world. The word does nothing in the minister without the unction with which God accompanies it. This does all, even in the mouth of him who is himself the anointed of God. Lord, exercise upon my heart this sovereign power. Instruct it with all the authority of thy divine person, and with all the efficacy of thy Spirit. Make it bear the yoke of thy gospel with affection, and let this excellent abridgment of thy doctrine be always the rule of my manners and the pattern of my behavior.